Welcome, welcome. It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we've got Anvil Aerospace at Intergalactic Aerospace Expo Day 7. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Anvil is offering us. We got the brochure as usual. Then we have the Arrow starting out at $75. That is a bargain for this light fighter that is kind of meta and has been for a couple of years now. It's just that fantastic of a fighter. It's very maneuverable, semi-stealthy. It has okay weapons, not the best, but if you know how to fly one and you know the meta, then you will be successful in this Arrow many times. So $75, good deal for the Arrow. Let's move on. Then you've got the Ballista, which is the ground vehicle that is a surface-to-air missile silo. It's got size 5 missiles and size 8 missiles, so it's able to knock out ships of all sizes. And it's got these, I think they're twin size 3s up here. It can do some damage. Fun little ground vehicle, especially if you're running it in an operation with an org. You can have a few of these trying to hold down a certain point, and they can be pretty successful doing it. $140, it's a lot of money for a vehicle, but there you have it, the Ballista at $140. Then you have the C8R Pisces First Responder. This is kind of like the Cuddy Red as far as being an ambulance type ship, but it's smaller, fits in more other ships. Perfect for quickly getting in, quickly getting out. Now, one thing the Cuddy Red has on this one is that it's got multiple aid stations, you could call it, whereas this one does not. But this one comes in at about half the price nearly, so $65 for a C8R Pisces. Really fun little vehicle. I love the Pisces. It's a great little snub ship with a quantum drive. Then you got the C8X Pisces Expedition. This one comes standard if you have the Carrick Expedition version. It has extra guns, so that's the difference really in the paint job. So it's got 4 guns instead of 2. They really don't make a difference. Don't fight in the Pisces. It's not made for fighting. Very maneuverable, quantum jump capable. Great little ship to have in your arsenal. Then we have the Carrick at $600. Now I have one of these at $350 in buyback still. Man, $600. Carrick's come a long ways. This one, special upgrade offers, so you could get the 10-year insurance if you upgrade into a Carrick. But this is going to be the granddaddy of all space exploration. Now there is also the Misk Odyssey that should be really good as well. But they're going to be different, or good in different roles of long-term exploration. But they're both kind of end goals for that career path. This one will have some drones. It's got a lower deck for the bridge and an upper deck that you can fly the ship from either one. It's got 2 side turrets. It's got 2 remote turrets. It's got cargo area. It's got a bay for vehicles. It's got a hangar for a Pisces, or even you could probably fit an Arrow in there. You can, and some other ships. But this thing has it all for any group of people that are going to go on a long-term exploration jaunt in the verse. $600 could be great for a small group or org. Definitely think about getting something like that if that's what you want to do with your group or as a group of people. Then we have the Centurion, which is all ground, all combat. It's got this crazy turret on the back. I believe it's 4 size 4s, and then it's got the turret up front as well. Thing packs a punch. $110 for it, though. Is it worth it? That's going to be kind of up to you to decide. I mean, I know it's 110 seems a lot for a ground vehicle in Star Citizen right now, just because things in the air are way more useful. I mean, you just drop one bomb on this thing and, you know, you're done. You're cooked. So hopefully they can change some of the balance there to make it more worth the investment. Then you have the Crucible. This one's not in the game yet. This price will go up eventually. This is going to be the best ship for mobile repairs. Whether you're repairing small ships or big ships, it's going to be able to do both. Expect it to get a complete redesign before we see it in game. Mostly redesigned. I don't know. They haven't put it in the game for a reason. It needs to be coming soon because the repair mechanics, the salvage mechanics are like the opposite of the repair mechanics. So I do believe that there's a time for a repair to come in, and now that they have salvage in, they can spend some time on the repair side of it. But I'm not CIG, I don't make the priorities, so I don't know when this thing's coming out, but again, I think it should be sooner rather than later. Maybe they come out with a smaller repair ship like the Vulcan first. We'll have to wait and see. $350 for the Crucible right now. Best that you get it now rather than waiting until it goes up in price, if this is the ship that you want. And again, a disclaimer, you can buy all ships in-game. You only have to have your first ship to get in the game. In other words, you only have to have your package to get into the game at $40, and then anything else you'll be able to buy in-game. Now, if you want to bypass a little bit of time, a little bit of grinding, you can pick up some of these ships earlier, like right now, and like the F7C Hornet, $110. So that'll kind of bypass some of the grinding that you might otherwise have to do to get to the ship that you want. Now, it's not going to be the end game, so to speak. You're not paying to win when you do that, because there's going to be a lot of content available to you in whatever ship that you decide you want to fly around. So just be prepared that just because you pay a certain amount for a ship doesn't mean that the game's over for you. Okay? So F7C Hornet, this is the meta right now. These things are beefy. They're able to fight real hard. You do want to put a gun up here to make it a little bit stronger. But the standard version is $110. The Wildfire is $175. As you can see, it does come with the gimbaled mount up top. Really awesome ship right now. Then you have the Super Hornet at $180. Less awesome, but I mean, it's going to be a fantastic ship, especially when armor's in the game. This thing's going to be really sturdy. Virtually military spec medium fighter. I don't know what that means, virtually. I guess it's supposed to be the military version of the F7C, but they have one. It's called the F7A. Who knows? $180, Super Hornet. Comes with two size 1s here, two size 2s up here, and then two size 3s on the wingtips. But all these can be changed out. Then you have the F7C Hornet Tracker. This is the one that's going to be able to scan the system in front. It's like designed to be on patrol and scanning for bad guys out in front of your Idris or even your Javelin or any of your carriers or your flight group in general. You may want to take this one with the whole sea. So if you want to protect the whole sea and see everything that's coming ahead of time, you may have a few of these Hornet trackers out there trying to scan the system in front of you and around you. $140 for it. Then you've got the Hornet Ghost, which is the stealth version of the Hornet, and it does work. It has a very low EM signature, $125. Great price for this ship. You can, again, outfit it with three different weapons. If you go ballistics, helps the stealth signature even more, but you can run out of ammo. So there's that side. Then you have the Gladiator, which is what I would call a short-range bomber. They call it a fighter bomber. It's not a fighter. I mean, it can be okay in a fight, but it requires 2 people in it, so that's an issue. But short-range bomber, it can be really good at, especially if you have these. If you've got an Idris that you're dedicating to, bombers or something, you can have a wing of these go out, and they could be pretty effective. So definitely something to keep in mind if you have a carrier class ship, or if you're doing short range operations and you can bring your Gladiator into the arena that you're at, then you might be able to get some good use out of it. It has size 5 torpedoes on it, which, I mean, it's not going to do a lot to an Idris, but if you get 3 of them firing a bunch of size 5 torpedoes, that could probably do some damage. So we'll have to wait until all the balancing's redone to see how really effective this is. Maybe it's going to be better against smaller or subcapital large ships, like the Carrick or the Caterpillar or something like that. So we'll have to wait and see kind of where it is in the balance grand scheme of things. This one's probably going to get reworked a little bit before we're done with Anvil and everything gets released. So 165 for it. Then you've got the Hawk, which is a light fighter. It's kind of designated as a bounty hunter. It's got a cell in the back. It has 6 guns on it. $100 for a 6-gun ship isn't too bad, but again, it's not really the meta. This one's more about the lore behind it. If you're buying the ship, that's what you're buying it for, is to do the role that it was set out for in the lore. Right now, obviously, we don't have some of those mechanics yet, so this thing really can't shine. It does have an EMP as well, so it should be fantastic in the role of a bounty hunter. Then we have one of the heavier fighters, the heavier hitters. This is a 2-seater. You've got the pilot, and then you've got the turret gunner. The turret gunner has 4 size 3s at their disposal, and the pilot has 2 size 4s. So $210 for this glass cannon is what they call it. But let me tell you, this thing does take a punch as well. And the amount of firepower you put down range with this thing, it makes it formidable against anyone. Especially if you have a turret gunner that's worth anything. They're going to be able to really keep some enemies at bay and make them wish they didn't engage with you. $210 for that ship. Then we have the dedicated boarding vessel called the Legionaire. So this thing's designed to go up to enemy ships stealthily and latch on, or somewhat stealthily anyways, and then cut a hole or go through a port, I think in the back, and enter enemy vessels. So if you plan on doing some boarding parties on some bigger ships, you're going to want a few of these Legionnaires probably in your fleet. I've got one. I'm thinking maybe I should get a second one if I can upgrade to it or something. We'll think about it. Could be a good decision. Here is a fun ship. I say that because it's got a lot of potential, and it's got I don't know how to say it exactly. $575. That's a lot of money for a Liberator. They're calling it a deep strike light carrier. It's more of a transport than a carrier. So don't think of it as, oh, I'm going to do a lot of operations off the deck of this thing. My fighters are going to go off and go destroy things, come back, rearm, and go out again. It's not really designed for that aspect of things. It's more of, I'm going to transport all of my fighters and ground vehicles from point A to point B. Now, you have the option of lifting off if you get in trouble and using those fighters to help defend the Liberator, but it's more designed to be a transport. You know, a lot of us have a lot of different ships, and we need to be able to get them from one system to another. That's kind of where the Liberator comes in. It's just another way to transport all your vehicles and ships, or as many of them as you possibly can. Which I don't think there's only like room for like 3 medium ships or something on here. The Liberator's the way to do it. $575. I know some people that are going to try to use this thing as a base of operations. It's not really designed to do that. You'll be able to do some of that. It's just not going to be super effective in that role. Then you have the Spartan, which is just an armored troop transport at $80. This thing is too much money, if you ask me. I would go with one of the other ground vehicles. $80 is a lot for having just a couple of guns and just to be able to move troops on the ground. There's a lot of other options out there that can do that. I don't know. They're obviously maybe not going to be as heavily armored as the Spartan, like the Ursa Rover, but there are other options, and $80 just seems like a lot right now. Maybe they will change my mind later down the road. Then we come up to the Terrapin. This is a ship that surprisingly a lot of people really want functionality for in the game. A lot of people love this little ship. I think it's cool looking as well. This is going to be another scanning, pathfinding type ship. You're going to be able to go a little bit further into deep space or out in front to scout and kind of go silent and be able to pick up where enemy activity is. So it's going to be fantastic as like a stealth scouting type role. They're calling it the Ultimate Scout at $220. We just don't have that aspect of the game mechanics in the game yet. So if you get the ship, just know that you're not going to be able to use it the way you want to yet. And this is a dual seater as well, or at least I recommend having 2 people in it. One pilot and one doing the scanning. You could technically get up out of the pilot seat to do the scanning, but if you need to get out of trouble really quickly, you might want to have somebody in both seats. Just saying. Then you have the Valkyrie. This is an awesome drop ship. They also give it the title or the role of Overwatch here. I love my Valkyrie. You can fit ground vehicles in there. You can have people on door guns, people on turrets, remote turrets. It's got guns on the front and the wings for the pilot. It's just a cool ship. You can have 20 battle-hardened Marines on board, ready to get to the ground and unleash hell. Valkyrie's just a cool freaking ship. $375 may seem like a lot, but I mean, if you're doing ground operations with a org, a few of these seems like a no-brainer. I don't know. And there you have it. You got the 10-year insurance upgrade for the Carrick, the Anvil Gear Pack $350, again celebration at $25, and then the Anvil Complete Pack for $3,350. If you're doing credits, it's $3,750. I know it seems like Anvil compared to the others isn't nearly as pricey, but I'll tell you why. Because Anvil doesn't have a capital ship yet. Liberator and the Carrick are probably the biggest ships in the Anvil fleet at the moment. Anvil, to me, is so like Aegis is your more attacking fighter craft type, military type vessels, whereas to me Anvil is more armored. So whereas Aegis is, I guess, more finesse, Anvil's more brute force. That's kind of the way I see it. But I would love to see like a destroyer or something come from Anvil. Something that's just beefy. That's going to be hard to bring down. That's got tons of guns on it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And are you planning on picking up anything on day 7 here with Anvil? Fantastic manufacturer. They probably don't get as much credit as they should, but love Anvil. And something you don't see on here is the F8C Lightning. So there's no F8 for sale right now. They had that sale back in late October, and looks like that was the only chance you were going to get the F8 unless you get to a certain pledge amount. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy. I'll see you out in the verse.